The isekai anime genre has exploded in popularity, and a flood of anime has entered the market to fill the demand. Featuring ordinary characters who are transported to fantasy worlds, the stories are mostly about learning to adapt to a drastically different environment. If you love isekai anime in general, you'll want to check out the anime which are just like Overlord. Before jumping to the list, please make sure to subscribe my channel for future updates and hit that like button and comment your opinion down below. Number 1. That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, based on a Japanese fantasy light novel by Fuse. That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime is a highly popular isekai anime. However, the series has 51 episodes, so you have to invest significant time in the series. But it's definitely worth watching if you like Overlord. Satoru Mikami is a 37-years-old man living in Tokyo. He lives a decent life but meets an unfortunate fate as he gets killed by an assailant. While taking his last breaths, a sound in his mind tells him to follow some commands, and the next thing we know, he gets reincarnated as a slime in an unknown world where he possesses supernatural powers. Number 2. Is it wrong to try to pick up girls in a dungeon? Commonly referred to as the dungeon, the city of Orario, managed by its guild, has an enormous underground labyrinth in which regularly appears a host of monsters, ranging from goblins to dragons. The gods, having decided long ago to live among mortals, give their falna blessings to those with the courage and qualities required to walk the dungeon. These chosen ones then become adventurers. By defeating monsters, they obtain crystal fragments which are used to craft magic items, among many other treasures. However, they can also be exchanged for currency. Residents of Orario can join groups called familia, which perform a variety of functions, ranging from exploring the dungeon to crafting items or participating in the active life of the city, as well as providing utility services. Public. Each of these familia is named after the deity who founded it and serves the latter. In the style of role-playing video games, adventurers are distinguished by their orientation as well as their level, which they increase through their training and quests, and gain abilities according to their prowess. The story follows those of Bel Crenel, a young novice aspiring to find love and become the best adventurer, and his little goddess Hestia, a solitary deity in search of followers to create his familia. Number 3. How Not to Summon a Demon. Lord Takuma Sakamoto is an ordinary human who is mysteriously transported to the world of his favorite MMORPG, Cross Reverie, in the guise of his own character, the mighty demon king Diablo. The two young girls who summoned him, Rem and Shira, attempt to use a spell to make Takuma their servant, but the spell is considered and they end up with magical necklaces tied around their necks, thus becoming his slaves. With a serious case of social anxiety, Takuma still decides to take on the role of his character while interacting with others and uses his high stats and vast knowledge of Cross Reverie to survive in his new environment, traveling with him. Number 4. The Rising of the Shield Hero. Summoning of the characters playing video games into a different world, mystical powers and objects, uninvited troubles, and a lot can be seen in common between Overlord and the Rising of the Shield Hero. The second season of the series aired recently, and with an IMDb rating of 8.0, the show speaks for its success. The story of the anime goes like this. 4 heroes are summoned to an unknown world to save it from the catastrophe known as waves. All 4 heroes are equipped with a special weapon that helps them survive in that world. The main character of the series, Naofumi, becomes the shield hero, considered the weakest among all. But his dedication and trustworthy friends prove everyone wrong. Number 5. Death March to the Parallel World. Rhapsody. Ichiro Suzuki is a developer who was supposed to take a nap, but curiously wakes up in another world in the guise of a teenager. This world would actually be that of the game he was working on before his nap. Lost and trying to figure out what happened to him, he is suddenly attacked by a group of lizard men. In order to survive, he uses the spells offered to new players and decimates all the enemies. He thus sees his level increase disproportionately and amass enormous loot. Despite this, he chooses to remain discreet and decides to use his pseudonym Sato Pendragon in order to discover this new world and meet new people there. Number 6. The misfit of Demon King Academy. This series doesn't have anything to do with gaming like Overlord but follows the concept of an overly powerful main character. While Momonga finds himself transported into the new world, Anos Voldegode gets reincarnated, only to take back his title of the Demon King. Season 2 of the series just got an official announcement and will air in 2023. To put an end to a long-going war between humans and demons, Anos Voldegode sacrifices his life. Now, he is born 2,000 years later, retaining his knowledge and powers from his previous self. But, before becoming the Demon King again, he must first graduate from the Demon King Academy. Number 7. The King's Avatar. This series is not an anime, but a donghua, Chinese animation. So, watching The King's Avatar would be a completely new experience for the anime fans while still getting a feel of watching Overlord. Just like Suzuki Satoru, Yi Shu is also the top drawer player in its world. He doesn't get transported to another world like Ains but is forced to leave the team by his friends. Despite being kicked out by his friends from the team, Yi Zio became the greatest player of MMORPG glory. He creates his account from scratch and returns to earn the same glory that was snatched from him. Number 8. Sword Art Online. This is the game from the first arc, Sword Art Online. The world takes the form of a giant floating castle called Aincrad, with 100 levels. Each floor features a medieval-style setting and a dungeon with a boss that must be defeated before players can access the upper floor. Like most role-playing games, the game features a level system. However, after the beta test period, the game creator activated a system to trap players inside Aincrad, preventing any disconnection. In order to quit the game, someone has to finish it. If players die in-game or their virtual immersion helmets are forcibly removed, their brains receive a fatal microwave stream. Number 9. Re:0 starting life in another world. One day, leaving a convenience store, a Japanese high school student in a tracksuit named Subaru Natsuki is transported to a parallel world without any explanation. While trying to make his mark in this new world, Subaru is attacked by a band of bandits. On the verge of death, he is saved by a silver-haired half-elf named Satella, accompanied by a cat-like spirit, Pack. To reciprocate, he decides to help her with her daily chores, including finding the badge stolen from her by Felt, a young girl living on theft. Later, in the slums of the city, they are attacked and killed by a mysterious person. Before dying, Subaru promises Satella that he will do anything to save her. Number 10. Arifureta. From commonplace to world's strongest in Arifureta. From commonplace to world's strongest. Hajime Nagumo was an ordinary, benevolent high school student who is bullied by the rest of his class because of his special relationship with their idol, Kaori Shirasaki. When transported with their teacher to another fantasy world as heroes, while most of his fellow students gain powerful skills including magic and high stats, Hajime only gets a non-combat class of synergist, a kind of technician with mediocre statistics and the ability to transmute solid materials, a common skill of artisans and blacksmiths, this reinforcing the contempt of his peers. During a dungeon conquest in the labyrinth of Orcus, helping his comrades in saving Kaori, he is betrayed by one of his fellow students and, except by the latter who refuses, left for dead in the underworld. Still unexplored of said dungeon, at the mercy of monsters theoretically too powerful and dangerous for him who infest the place, and doomed to almost certain death, Hajime nevertheless manages to survive. That's it for today and I hope you enjoy these video and please make sure to subscribe my channel for more videos.